Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Wiebe. This week's reading focused on Stanislavski and the Moscow Art Theater. Overall, I really enjoyed this week's readings because they helped me to understand not just about Stanislavski's method, but how the Moscow Art Theater shaped modern acting today. In our first reading, it was definitely a little bit more difficult for me. It was much more philosophical, and I had to slow down and really understand what the author was saying. Even so, I appreciated learning more about the Moscow Art Theater and how committed they were to creating a true ensemble. I liked that. I liked reading that actors couldn't refuse roles and that everyone was expected to contribute equally to the production. That's something I really try to build in my own theater program. I never want students to think that only the lead role matters. Every role contributes to the success of a production. Another interesting point was how the Moscow Art Theater evolved over time. At first, they focused heavily on realism and recreating life as accurately as possible. As they began to producing Chekhov's plays, they realized that simply copying reality wasn't enough. They also had to create an atmosphere and emotional world of the play. The idea really stood out to me because directing isn't just about realistic scenery and costumes. Every design choice should help tell the story, to move the story forward, to communicate the heart of the play. In our other reading, the Great Acting Teachers and Their Methods, focus more on Stanislavski himself and some of the lessons he learned throughout his career. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was the emphasis on discipline. On page 22, they talk about how Stanislavski realized that talent alone wasn't enough. He learned the importance of showing up prepared, arriving on time, and rehearsing with focus. As someone who teaches high school students, that really resonated with me. I also love the quote, and this one actually already is in my theater rules, that there are no small parts, only small actors. I tell my students that all the time, that talent is great, but it will only take you so far. Students who grow the most are usually the ones who consistently work hard, who are respectful, and who take rehearsals seriously. Another quote that stood out to me was on page 19, and it states, "We bask in the applause and the praise and bow humbly. It's a great dream. Unfortunately, it rarely comes true. Mostly we are left with a vague sense of uneasiness. The praise is never enough, and if it is, we feel we really don't deserve it. And so we move on to the next production, hoping it will be the one, hoping everything will work and that the praise will be deserved." I feel like it's not the happiest, most positive quote, but I believe it's something that most directors maybe relate to. Maybe not, but because it's in a book, probably. Even after the show goes well, it's hard or it's easy to focus on what could have been better instead of celebrating all the good that just happened. But reading that reminds me that that's something I need to, and I already know I need to work on that. But it's a struggle that has been going on for many generations. Lastly, I connected with Stanislavski's belief that acting requires both inner and outer work. I highlighted all of them throughout the reading of this chapter, but my favorite was the one about imagination. And I have two quotes on page 35 and 36 that I like best. It states on page 35, "Whatever character you play does not truly exist until you create it. That is an act of the imagination." And on page 36, it says, "Imagination is limitless and is one of the most powerful tools. It enlivens the minds and the will and the emotions." I got goosebumps the first time I read those lines. That's something I want to instill more in my students, the freedom to imagine, to play, to create without worrying about getting everything perfect the first time around. That's what rehearsals are for. But overall, I came away with great appreciation for Stanislavski's influence on modern acting and the culture and discipline, collaboration, and the thoughtful storytelling that the Moscow Art Theater had established. So thank you, and yeah.